Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Storm. I am a wife-to-be. I'm a first-time mom to the most incredible little boy. He is just over 2 years old now, so we're in that very, very energetic toddler phase. Send help. And I, along with my fiance, we moved out into the country after living in the city for our whole lives, and we are trying to homestead and get our house up and running and off the ground and like get our garden sorted and all that kind of stuff. So this channel is all about homesteading, homemaking, cooking from scratch, DIYing, motherhood, toddlerhood, living out in the wild, all that kind of stuff. So if this is content that interests you, please hit the subscribe button. In this episode, I am going to be going through making our main bedroom's bedspread from scratch. So a little while ago, after we'd moved in here, Darren and I decided that the bed that we had was a little bit outdated. It was a bit small for us. It was only a queen size bed and we needed something a little bit bigger. So, and also because our rooms are so big, we decided that the best size for us would be a super king. So we looked around for a bit. They are insanely expensive. And we are on a lot of like moms buy sell share groups, and we're on a trade group that's like in our area. And I think we must have been looking for the bed for a good like 2-3 months when somebody finally advertised that they were selling a king size bed. It's come from the sweetest old couple that were like the original farmers in the area that we're living in, but they were relocating to the Cape, and so they were just like trying to get rid of all of their belongings. They were obviously downsizing, so probably didn't need such a big bed anymore. And we managed to pick up the bed for like a fraction of the price of a normal like brand new king size bed. And with the bed, they gave us some bedding, which was like a pink color with like a mosaic like paisley type pattern on it, and although it served its purpose and it was very kind of them to give us the bedding as well, it did not go with like the house's color scheme or theme at all. But I mean, you know, it was all we had at the time. Because we've never had a king size bed, we did not have any linen for it, so it's the bedding that we've had to make do with since we bought the bed. And we've had the bed now quite a while, probably I want to say like 6 months, with this bedding that really just like served its purpose, but is like not our style at all. And so I finally decided that I was going to go and buy the linen and give myself the task of making our bedding. Now, I have made a duvet cover before. I made one for my mom, like I want to say like 15 years ago, might even be closer to like 20 years ago, when I was like fresh out of school, and I had my gran who was the one that did all of the sewing with me, and she guided me along the whole way of making this duvet cover for my mom, whereas now I'm like doing it completely on my own. I don't remember anything that she taught me, so I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time googling and looking at tutorials and stuff on YouTube and Pinterest and that kind of stuff, but I really want to to start organizing and decorating our rooms to fit the house, and to start getting our house into the shape that we want it. Like I say, we've been here for just over a year, and with all the drama that we had when we moved in, with like the builders running off with our money and finding so many flaws with the house since we've moved in, I feel like we haven't really done anything from the homemaking perspective. We moved in, we unpacked what we could. Half of our stuff was in boxes because we didn't even have cupboards or anything like that after the builders just left. So all of the projects that I'm doing now were things that I wanted to do as soon as we moved in, but we just didn't have the capacity to do it. So I'm going to be starting with the home organizing and decorating projects over the next couple of months, which is very exciting. And I just thought that the best place to start would be our main bedroom, because it's our bedroom. You know, I want it to look nice and pretty and that kind of stuff. So the whole like color theme in our house is very earthy colors, and our house is very white, and we've got a lot of like wooden features and that kind of stuff. So I think that those colors will go very nicely in the house. So I went to our local haberdashery and I bought some linen, and these are the colors that I went for. So I got like the duvet cover is going to be this like light beige color, like a stony color, sandy color, and then I thought I'd do some pillows in this like darker gray color, because that will go very nicely with this like throw over. It's like a fleece blanket. I don't know if fleece is actually the material that it is. I'm not very clued up with materials, but it's a nice warm comforting blanket that I thought would be very nice to just throw over the edge of the bed. And I had a look at some styles on Pinterest for like bedroom ideas that I want to go for, and this is the inspiration that I'm trying to achieve. So I feel like these colors are kind of the closest that I have to what I want to make. So yeah, that's going to be my project for the next couple of days. I am obviously not able to do it all in one go, because I do have my little toddler who is with me all the time, and he is very inquisitive and wants to be included in everything, which I love, but it does mean that things have to be like staggered a little bit, because I obviously have to make sure that he's taken care of, and we've got to still like cook and clean and do all that kind of stuff. So for this evening, what I am going to get started with is cutting my material and pinning all the things that I can, and then I'll see how far I get. If I can get to sewing some stuff, I will, but yeah, if I can just get to cutting everything the right size and pinning it, then I'll hit the ground running tomorrow with actually starting with the sewing of everything. So that's what I'm going to go do now, and yeah, come with and see how it goes. Like I say, I'm also kind of doing this blind. I have done it once, but I really had a tutor like standing over my shoulder, whereas now I'm doing it completely alone, and I hope that I don't make a mess up. So yeah, let's do this and let's see how it comes out. So it's getting pretty late, and I've decided that I'm going to call it a day at the point that I am, and then I'll carry on tomorrow. But what I've managed to do is I have cut all of my material, and I have pinned everything so it's ready to go for tomorrow. I have managed to overlock a couple of sides of the main duvet cover, and I have overlocked and sewn a seam on the pillow slips, just because I needed to have that already done in order to pin them into place for tomorrow. So I think that's quite a big job. I feel like basically tomorrow I'm just going to be doing the stitching, and it's like just stitching along the borders of all of the pieces, and then that's basically the stuff done, and then I'll show you what the finished product looks like after I've sewn everything together. Morning everyone, I am back and I am ready to pick up where I left off yesterday. Everything is pinned and ready and waiting to be stitched. I did most of the overlocking yesterday as well, so literally today is just about sewing the folds and the seams and all of that, and literally putting everything together. So I'm excited. I think it's going to go pretty quickly, but I'll give you updates as I go. I'm just going to make myself a cup of coffee because nothing happens before coffee, and then I'll get cracking. But I also just wanted to mention that when I was in bed last night, I was on Pinterest, which is my absolute guilty pleasure. I was looking at more bedroom ideas and like bedspread ideas, and I just saw that a lot of the images and inspiration that I was looking at, there is more like matching things like in the spreads. So that gave me an idea to use that like long checkered blanket, and it is too long for the bed. I had to buy 3 meters of it, and the length of the bed is only I think 220 or 230, I can't remember. So there will be some offcuts that I will have, and I was thinking that maybe I could take 1 or 2 cushions, like scatter cushions that I had on previous beds, where again the color scheme just will not tie in at all. Take the covers off of those and then use that material to make covers for the innards of the cushions that I'll no longer be using. So I know it's a little bit of an extra task, but really like I think it will just tie in so nicely all together at the end. So if there's like 1 or 2 other pillow covers that I need to make, well then that's what I'll do. But yes, let me get on to making the coffee, and then I can just dive straight into the sewing. So here is my very first pillow slip that I made, and I am so excited. I did make a little mistake on the measuring though. As you can see, like the top of the pillow is not quite in line with like the part that gets tucked under the flap. So I just need to readjust my pinning to make sure that when I fold the pillow slip that the 2 edges are like in contact with each other and that there isn't this big overlap, and then that should sort that problem out. But nobody's really going to notice that, number 1, and number 2, I still think it's a really good attempt as a first one. So I'm just going to go fix up my pinning for the rest of the pillows, and then I'll carry on with that. Okay, so we are making great progress here. I have sewn all of the bedding stuff like the sheets and the pillow slips, and this is basically everything that's going to actually be slept on. All I have left to do is to cut that fleecy blanket and to stitch the pillow covers for that, and to do the press studs on the sheet to close the duvet inner inside, and then that will be all the sewing done, and then I can put it on the bed and see what the finished product looks like. Okay, so all of the sewing is finally done. I think that these little cushions came out so nicely, and they're gonna just match everything and look so good. I did an envelope seam on them, I think that's what it's called, because I'm not skilled enough yet to know how to put zips on, but I am going to Google how to do that, so moving forward I will know how to put zips on things like this. But for now, this worked pretty well. There's the two of them that I just used the innards from other cushions to fill, and then here is all of my sewing stuff that I'm now going to go and put on the bed and see how it looks. Moment of truth. Let's go take a look. There we have it, finished project. First bedroom decoration done and dusted, and I couldn't be more thrilled with the outcome. I absolutely love how it turned out. It is exactly what I wanted, and I just think that the way this and that complement each other is perfect. So yeah, this was a really fun project. And fairly easy. Like if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably say it was about a 4 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. The hardest things, or the most tedious things, were actually just trying to thread the overlocker, which I died a little bit inside every time something went wrong and I had to rethread it, which was about 5 times altogether. And then putting the press studs on. So if anybody knows an easier way to do that, please leave a message in the comments, because that took a lot longer than I thought it would. And even though it's not hard, it's really like boring and time consuming. So if there's an easier or more efficient way to do that, I'd love to hear it. And also let me know in the comments what you think. To further decorate, I actually want to get something on top of the bed over there. We don't have a headboard yet, which we're looking at getting. I might make one out of pallet wood, or we'll see again on one of the marketplaces if we can get something that's pretty cheap. I never really see things for Super King though, so I think we might have to end up making something, but that's also like another day's problem. But once we get the headboard, then because it's such a big wall at the top, what I was thinking was getting like 3 big black picture frames and having like silhouettes of trees and stuff inside there, so that we keep with that natural theme, but with the colors that go. But yeah, I've loved doing this project. I can't wait to get started on the next room and just keep the momentum going. Now that my sewing kits and my overlocker and all of that is out, I want to just try and do these sewing projects regularly to get the rooms all sorted in a shorter amount of time. that is that. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.